Morning guys, how we doing? Hope you're good. So Friday already, Friday vibes coming around real quick. So I hope you got nice plans for the weekend. So today we're going to talk about overcoming giving up. All right, giving up is something none of us like to do. It can come in all forms of shapes and sizes, giving up. It could come in health, it could come up in relationships, it can come up in any quest that you're on to improve yourself and your life. I remember my first sort of taste of giving up or experiencing the results of people giving up was when I was in my Royal Marine Commando training. And when we was in training, obviously the training is put to a very, very high standard, and the demands were huge, quite rightly so, for obviously getting ready for guys to go to war. If they're not ready, we need to get them out. Morning guys, morning everyone. And what would happen is that we would start off with I think there was 62 people in my troop, and I think there was only 6 originals passed out. And what would happen is some guys would join us from the hunter troop, which was like an injury troop, or people would get back troop because they haven't met the standard and they had to do those final 2 weeks again. So we ended up passing out with something like 20 people, I think. But it was mental because 55 or so people gave up. They literally gave up. And when they gave up, they went home and they had to deal with the consequences. Now, the first time I joined, I gave up about week 7. And the reason I gave up was because when I left to join the Marines, I left my long-term relationship in limbo and I was too young to deal with that, wanting to be at home, but doing really well in training. And I left. And I never forget getting home on the first evening when I left and feeling sick. And I phoned one of my friends that was in training and said, fuck it, I've made a mistake. I knew that I had made that mistake instantly. I knew I was making a mistake when I was doing it, but for some reason I just couldn't control the situation or step back. Even some of the training team took me under their wing and said, look, you are making a mistake. But you have to live and you have to learn and you have to understand the consequences of giving up something. And when I got home, it was stressful. I was unhappy, I was miserable, I was sad. I then went and worked at Tesco's to stock shelves, which wasn't fulfilling. It lacked me didn't give me any purpose. I lacked that purpose. And I ended up rejoining probably about 4 or 5 months later, and went straight in and obviously never looked back. But I wonder what it is at that point in our brains, in our state of mind, where we feel that we need to give up, and we can't get past that point where we feel we can't go on. For a lot of people, when it comes to health, it suddenly becomes very difficult to sustain and manage and keep a routine. The mindset for a lot of people when it comes to fitness and health and nutrition is that it becomes an annoyance because you're trying to live your life. You're coming up with every excuse under the sun. You're blinded by life, if you like, because life's throwing everything at you and you're going, I just don't have time for this. It's just not at the right time. I just can't do it right at this point in my life. And I see all of that. And they don't quite see the Matrix. And if you've watched the Matrix, it's kind of he's kind of living that day and they're trying to get him to see the Matrix. And it never happens. But then all of a sudden he gets it. He gets the aha moment. And I think if you get to that point, you are less likely to give up. But the journey leading up to that point where you see the Matrix and you get it and you get the aha moment and that moment clicks and something clicks, you are vulnerable to giving up. The mindset says, this is too tough. I don't want to deal with being out of my comfort zone. I don't want to deal with the hardship. And this is where this mindset comes in. This layer of strength on your mindset. And you overcome those issues. Each one that's been thrown at you, And you have to have this mental resilience and robustness, which I talk about an awful lot. You know, you have to have that purpose, you have to have that drive. Motivation isn't enough. Motivation is shit. And when people lack motivation, they give up. They give up. So for me, the key to overcoming at that point where you give up on, whether it's your job, a relationship, your health, okay, is the point where you suddenly find a purpose with it. You find a passion, you find drive, you find an obsession. So let me give you an example. So my partner, who I'm with now, reasons I wouldn't give up on that relationship. Number one, my purpose is to want to be a great partner to her, eventually a husband. We have a great family. My passion is that I love her to bits, that she's my rock, that she keeps me grounded. My drive is to help her build her business so we can have a better life together. And my obsession is just her, full stop. Now, if any one of those key ingredients didn't fit, okay, if any of those ingredients didn't fit, then there would be no relationship. And that's the same with my health. If I wasn't training for my 100-miler, if I wasn't motivated to be around longer in life, okay, then I wouldn't have that purpose. So it's motivation / purpose. My purpose is to be here as long as possible. I want to see all of my kids grow up to be successful, to be married, to have their own families, to be around to say, I told you so. Okay, and that's my drive. My drive is to go into the gym. My passion is myself. My obsession is myself. And all of those key ingredients prevent me from giving up, prevent me from giving in. So, like, for example, going to jiu-jitsu today. I want to go, I want to improve myself. I'm obsessed about improving myself. I'm passionate about improving myself. Why would I possibly ever give up something that gives me calmer in my life? You know, that calm feeling, my temple. Why would I give up my running? I love running. It makes me feel alive. It makes me think a lot clearer. It helps me reduce stress. It helps me become stronger mentally and physically. But it's when it's hard, it's when we start that it becomes overwhelming, and we suddenly decide to make that decision, say, do you know what? I can't do it anymore. I'm giving up. You know, you look at a lot of people in races that stop and give up in a race. That's not their bodies. Their bodies might be exhausted. You may be tired. You might have expended 60% of what you've got. But your brain will take you so much further than your body. So when the body is spent, we are straight to those mindset, onto that mindset. You look at special forces, look at SEAL training, look at Royal Marine training. Everything is designed to be mentally strong, mentally robust. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we've got to try and do. We've got to build up the layers of strength in our state of mind so that as soon as we recognise the signs where it becomes tough and we want to break free and we want to give up and we just want to stop, we have to jump that hurdle and we have to fucking keep going. And you have to get through that. And the more times you do that, the stronger you get, the more likely you are to succeed and get to that point where you see the matrix, where you get it. I don't know if you've seen the Lego movie either. At the very end, everything's just there. He becomes a builder. He sees how it all fits into place. And that's what you're trying to work towards. Because when you get to that place, guys, there's no fucking way you're going to quit. No way. All right, so think twice about quitting. All right, so in summary, if you're thinking about giving up, if you get to that point where I just can't be arsed with this, just can't be bothered, then ask yourself why. Where's that purpose? Where's the passion? Where's the drive? Where's the obsession? Okay, all of those things. Most important one out of that for me is purpose. The absolute fucking purpose of the reason that you're doing what you're doing and why you shouldn't give up. All right, guys. So, hope you have a great Friday. If you're listening on podcast, please do leave a review. If you're on a video here now, please do share. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will catch you next week ready to go.